Welcome back to Ask K-pop Entertainment, Ask K-pop Entertainment, a channel with various interesting video categories. Ask Movie Review, Ask Fact, Ask News. If this is your first time watching our video, if you find it interesting, please subscribe to receive notifications for the next videos. For workers who want to earn a lot of money to get out of a difficult life, with a burning desire to change their life. If you are looking for a realistic movie about the desire to rise in life, then don't miss Minari. Currently, Korean cinema has stormed at prestigious film festivals around the world in recent times. Does the film really excel as the acclaim from U to Asia and so many awards? Let's watch the whole video today to feel the meaning of the movie and the message of the movie. Minari is a film written by genius director Lee Isaac-chung, produced by Studio A24 and Plan B. The film is drawn from a part of childhood and realities Lee Isaac-chung has experienced. He was a Korean-born boy born in the US, raised on a small farm in rural Arkansas. Childhood memories are imprinted in Lee when witnessing the struggling journey of pursuing the American dream of his parents. He tells the story on behalf of a community, not only Koreans, but also Asians, about a culture that migrated to dream of a better life. Set in the 80s, in the flow of Asians flocking to the US, in which the Korean couple in the film, Jacob and Monica. They also decided to set out to find new horizons with the hope of drawing up new perspective, full of goodness about the American dream. From Korea to America, the whole family lived in California at first, with the job of sexing chicks. Unyielding to the humiliating fate of hired labor, Jacob moves his family from a comfortable life in California to a small town in Arkansas. Jacob dreams of starting a farm and living off the profits of that business. This is not only a life-changing desire, but also an ambition to Koreanize this land. But will they succeed? The film opens with a scene where the mother drives her two children to their new home. Immediately, the childhood of director-screenwriter Lee Isaac-chung gradually transformed from memories into poetic images through the perspective of young David as the car passed through grasslands, trees and areas. But brutal reality slowly returns as they see their new home on wheels. Their house is a mobile garage located in the middle of a large, remote field, surrounded by no close neighbors.
여기 대체 어디야?
집이지?
The image of the wife played by Yeri-han struggling to enter her new home, followed by a close-up of her face, makes it clear that she doesn't like the place at all. While Jacob is optimistic about the life ahead, his wife Monica is disappointed about the new place, especially the place they are living is 1 hour drive from a hospital, while David has a congenital heart condition that may need emergency treatment. Life in the new place is not easy. Right from the first night, every time it rains, their house can be swept away at any time. TV signal flickering, electric lights blinking off. The storm is a metaphorical, predictive element of future conflicts. Consecutive difficulties came, making the farmer's vegetable garden not as lush as desired. He struggled to find a source of water for living and taking care of crops. Difficulties followed, like wanting to knock down a determined man like Jacob. Monica also seemed to have endured to the limit. What's more heartbreaking is when children have to see their parents in conflict tolerating each other. They try to send the message, don't fight, in desperation. The calm, helpless look of the two children instead of panic showed that their parents quarreled as usual, to the point that they were used to making David less and less talkative and unruly. Jacob races to pursue his ambition of the American dream. Monica still works as a hired worker on the farm. So Monica's mother comes to America from her hometown to help them take care of their two grandchildren, who connected the members with brutal simplicity, with boundless love. Children raised in America suddenly become strangers to their Korean grandmother. All conflicts arise from differences in culture. This made the children more and more uncomfortable, gradually distanced themselves from their grandmother.
같은 게 뭔데?
쿠키도 만들고 나뿐만도 아니고 남들 팬티도 안 입고.
그래?
The above lines show the point of view of a child growing up in America. David did not like his grandmother's presence at all and always had doubts for her. And yes, while Sunja is not a grandmother by these definitions, she is someone who can help her grandson face death and become stronger. Every little detail Yoon Yoo-young adds to her character, like every gesture or body gesture, makes the scenes funny, emotional, and heartbreaking. Jacob always tries to align himself and his family with positive beliefs, but sometimes he himself feels confused and lost when a supplier in Dallas cancels their order at the last minute. Even so, he persisted despite Monica's voice that she wanted to return to California. This brought their marriage closer to the breaking point. Faced with a big decision affecting family life, Jacob is still adamant.
애들을 위해서라도 한 번 더 생각해 볼 수 있잖아.
애들도 한 번쯤 아빠가 뭔가 해내는 거 봐야 될 거 아니야.
Monica is helpless and miserable in the remote countryside in a foreign country, and even alone in the midst of her relationship with her husband. At some point, Monica no longer had the strength to continue to be patient, and Jacob no longer had the strength to convince his wife again.
상황이 좋으면 함께 사는 거고 아니면 헤어지는 거야?
그만 좀 하자.
이제부터 그냥 돈만 벌면
아무 문제 없이 살 수 있어.
그러니까 당신 말은 우리는 서로를 구해주진 못하지만 돈은 할 수 있다.
After an emotional argument, the two tacitly agreed to separate. However, Sunja accidentally sets fire to the farmhouse in their absence. Arriving at home, Jacob rushes in to save the crops, and Monica rushes in to help him shortly after. In the end, the fire broke out of control, unable to save the plants in the warehouse. That fire had consumed all of Jacob's efforts for many months, but it was also it that saved Jacob and Monica's marriage from stalemate. They hugged each other as they watched the flames raging, the exhausted family lying together on the floor. Perhaps the fire as a way to test their family's trust, helped Jacob and Monica realize that they always need to be by their side to protect each other. The most beautiful is the family that remakes the word, comes from themselves. The land was overrun with her Minari trees. But this time, they will go together, like the other Minari is never alone no matter what land they are in. The script is the starting point of the film's success, as it not only tells the story of a family going to a remote area to grow crops to escape poverty, but it also conveys a lot of meaningful messages. At the beginning of the film, the audience easily recognized that Jacob's eyes were filled with ambitions about the American dream, but then through thorns and difficulties, he himself lost the sparkle that once existed in his eyes. Reckless and conservative nature, he rushed into his dream, but forgot about his family. The pressure on his shoulders because he could not guarantee a perfect life for his family is deeply imprinted in the subconscious of men, making us wonder if what he's trying to build is for a loved one or just for his own dreams. Minari describes an idyllic life that is both romantic with dreams and challenging with her family. Intimacy is threatened by poverty, cultural differences, communication, hope is suppressed by fear. But it is also the friendship that is also the catalyst that binds it all together. Two words: family. Help family members always hold on to each other when the storm comes. Thanks to the trifles but too honest, in silence, Suja convinced the audience to clearly feel the warmth of her grandmother, the love of her loved ones. The boy's weak heart was finally able to heal itself and become strong in adulthood without the need for medical intervention. David's fist was a tacit recognition, because no medical intervention was needed. Ever since she was an indispensable part of his heart. Failure is not the end, it is just a way to open up a new journey, maybe lonelier, more arduous, but what is needed is that everyone is alive. As long as we are alive, we still have the opportunity to innovate. As long as we are alive, we can do it again. The fire that she accidentally blew up burned the dreams and ambitions of her children, but in that ashes, life would revive. In one scene, when David looks at the rejected rooster tail oven from the hatchery his parents work at, the boy is taught his first lesson by his father. When answering to the auction David why the roosters were destroyed,
순놈은 맛이 없어. 알도 못 낳고 아무 쓸모 없어. 그러니까 우리는 꼭 쓸모가 있어야 되는 거야. 알았지?
if the male can't help the family, they will be abandoned by society like roosters. Just like how Jacob failed to feed the family, the wife decided to bring the children back to California so that Jacob could return to his farm. She considers her husband's ambitions as her own. A way of thinking is easy to see in many Asian women. If you want, I will always be behind to support you, let's work together. Until they have children, raising and taking care of children accidentally becomes their biggest ambition and responsibility in life. She has almost no voice in the family. The wife is resigned to quietly listening to her husband's decision, even though it's not necessarily what she wants. Relocating the elderly is never easy. Leaving each other's birthplace to cut their umbilical cord to move to a country half a world away is even more difficult. Only then can we see how much the grandmother in Minari loves her children and grandchildren. Her portrait is a beautiful representation of every Asian grandmother. An interesting character that highlights the exile life of Jacob's family, West neighbor Paul, considered eccentric and quirky, but warmer and kinder than most dignified people out there. Jacob made a mockery as he closed his eyes and continued searching for a source of water. They believe in the power of God and only need to pray, they will find a source of water. However, Jacob refuses advice on how to find that country because it's stupid. Jacob tells his son David that Korean people use their minds and scientific reasoning, so they don't have to pay for games. Superstitious divination. Launched at the right time in 2020, with the wave of racism, since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. When the stigma towards immigrants in the US increased seriously, Minari was considered as an antidote to the soul. Upholding the noble values of kindness, family affection, and also a grim reflection of contemporary society. And that's why a film filled with humanistic meaning about Asian immigrants in America, like Minari, became a phenomenon. The three-generation family presents different difficulties when adjusting to a new life in a new land. The grandmother Sunja, the oldest generation, is a traditional Korean. Although she came to America, she still brought with her the food, customs, and habits from her homeland. This also caused many conflicts between her and David, a boy born and raised in America. She also evoked spiritual values and national cultural identities in Korean families who settled in foreign lands. As for the couple Jacob and Monica, it may not be easy to integrate with them when they have to keep their culture, but also adapt to the new environment. Both husband and wife have to learn more English, but also make sure that their children do not forget Korean culture and Korean food. David is the future seed and the father's life-changing dream. With David and his sister Americanized, the problem of how to adapt to the environment is no longer a barrier when both can easily make friends with people around as well as speak English fluently. In Korean, Minari means water celery. The image of a grandmother looking for a small stream in the forest, where water is abundant, sows Minari seeds and tells her grandson David.
미나리가 얼마나 좋은 건데. 미나리는 이렇게 잡초처럼 아무 데서나 막 자라니까 누구든지 다 뽑아 먹을 수 있어. 부자든 가난한 사람이든 다 뽑아 먹고 건강해질 수 있어.
As long as it is sown in a place where there is water, it grows and grows quickly without human hands taking care of it. Chosen as the film's title, Minari is a metaphor for the immigrant family, as it implies that Koreans like that tree are fragile, but full of life, and always spreading to express their longing in the vast new land. Like the fact that Jacob's family, even though living conditions are not favorable, they still try to adapt to continue living, and always look to the future so that they can really change their life. After watching the movie, we can put ourselves in the character and think, is Jacob too selfish and dreamy, or is it Monica, who is not patient enough to follow her husband to the end of the American dream that the two have drawn? Will Jacob continue to realize the American dream? Would Monica accept such a place again? Then, comment below this Minari movie review to discuss with us. Thank you for watching the video. Let me know what you think about this movie. If you like my channel, don't hesitate to give me a like and subscribe to Ask K-Pop Entertainment so we can make more interesting videos. See you again.